You have to have a good environment because people are coming there to eat, and we have to make it interesting for them inside as well as outside. Cleanliness is so important, and we have to keep it clean around us also. And it's important what kind of stores are next to you.
Welcome to another episode of The Brand Called You, a vodcast and podcast show that brings you leadership lessons, knowledge, experience, and wisdom from hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. If you're new to our channel, please consider subscribing to it and hit the bell icon so that you never miss an update. I am your host, Ashutosh Garg, and today I'm privileged to welcome a very, very celebrated restaurant owner from India, New Delhi, Manpreet Singh. Manpreet, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ashutosh, for getting me here.
Thank you. Manpreet, in addition to being the owner of iconic restaurants in Delhi like Zen, Fujiya, and I remember Fujiya from my college days, which was years ago, and it's still going strong, Pulvari, etc., is also the treasurer of the National Restaurant Association of India. So, Manpreet, let's talk first about the National Restaurant Association of India. Tell me about this body and the restaurants it represents. How many restaurants, how many employees, what is the turnover, etc.?
We have over, not right now, maybe, but till about before the pandemic, we had over 500,000 members. And, over the years, they have only been increasing. We opened up sometime in the 90s with, a small, started with just Connaught Place in New Delhi, and now, of course, all our association members have over 7 million employees.
Wow.
And it's about 4 lakh crore. So 400,000 crore is the kind of turnover which we look at.
Amazing. So, since you are the treasurer, I want to ask you a follow-up question. When you talk of, 500,000 members, how would this compare to the other industries?
Well, I think we are amongst the top. We look at our third largest after retail and insurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So big employer of people.
A big employer, and then we are also trying to get more and more restaurants into our fold, and also making them, not in the black market, in the gray market. We want them to come out in the open, pay their taxes, and get the benefits of all that.
Fantastic. And, the figure you gave me was pre-pandemic. And I know that the restaurant business has probably been the worst affected.
Yes.
Tell me, what are the challenges restaurant owners are facing because of the pandemic?
You see, the issue is that, of course, our turnovers have gone haywire. We are shut for quite some time. It's difficult to retain good employees, good cooks, chefs. And it is becoming even more difficult now with the second pandemic, this curve which has gone up. And now we are expecting a third one. So it's not going to be easy. There is going to be a lot of retrenchment also, which is going to lead to a lot of unemployment. And a lot of restaurants are closing down because they can't afford the rentals anymore. You see, they were paying premium rentals at good locations, because restaurants are also about location. Has to be ease to the customer to get there. Should be a nice place. Surroundings have to be decent. I mean, you can't. It's not like a store which you can open and there's dirt around the place. You have to have a good environment because people are coming there to eat, and we have to make it interesting for them inside as well as outside. Cleanliness is so important, and we have to keep it clean around us also. And it's important what kind of stores are next to you, because they could be creating the filth. And sometimes it becomes very difficult. We have a lot of fights with our neighbors.
Correct.
Because they want to, encroach on your, even like a veranda. So it is an issue which is, it is tough.
Okay.
And we have so many licenses which are required to run restaurants. It's really amazing. Like one of our co-members said that it's easier to get a gun license than to open a restaurant.
Okay, and you were telling me, yeah, how many licenses do you need for a gun and how many for a restaurant?
I think you just need one gun license, you need one I card, and that's it. Of
Okay.
course. And by the way, in Delhi, you get our police license for the restaurant and the guns in the same building.
Amazing.
Ironical.
Absolutely. So, you mentioned that with the second wave and now third wave expected, employees are getting impacted a lot. What can be done to support them?
Well, as an association, we last time, the last particular time when we were shut down, we did send them some money. We gave them food, and of course, we tried to get some money from the government, but that was not possible. So a lot of restaurateurs had to not pay their employees because they could not afford it. And we also had a lot of well, misunderstandings and fights and meetings with the landlords and trying to get the rental waiver and things like that. And we were, I must say, quite successful with at least our rental waivers because most of the landlords understood our pain. And unfortunately, the government has not really helped us at all. I can't even say enough. They haven't helped us at all. I mean, if you look at United Kingdom, you look at USA, of course, their economy is far ahead of us. Maybe our government can't do it. But I would just say that UK, as you might know, they had this 3 days in a week where you could go and eat in a restaurant and they would subsidize it.
Really?
They were paying £10 per person, which is like 1,000 rupees per head.
Yeah.
Plus, they gave about 85 to 95% of the wage. Even in America, they gave about 95% of the wage bill. So that's the kind of help they got. A lot of other countries, Australia, Europe, they have also helped. But unfortunately, maybe because of our constraints of budget, our Indian government has not been able to do anything. But what I say is that if they can't support us with money, at least they should support us in other ways.
Absolutely right.
And one of our main pain points is the input of GST. When you open a restaurant, we are paying, according to our estimates, between 18 to 28% GST on capital goods, renovations, and things like that.
Okay.
So approximately about 23 to 24% is the cost of GST on our on a new restaurant, which we can't get back. So if you have, say, a restaurant which costs you about, you would say about 20 million, here is going to cost you about 28 million.
Wow.
Maybe 30. So I'm just saying that it increases our cost, which is in the long run. I mean, if you're going to open 5 restaurants, you can only open 4.
It is substantial.
You look at that way.
Right.
And ultimately, that also matters to the government because there is less employment. And of course, they get less GST back from our new restaurants.
Correct.
Yeah. So it's tough.
And of course, the multiplier effect on restaurants for other vendors is very large, isn't it?
Of course it is. I mean, if you sit down to calculate, it's crazy. I mean, we have small restaurants. I'm a small restaurant here, but there are big chains who have multiple vendors all over India. Each restaurant would typically have 3 or 4 big vendors and then a dozen or so smaller ones. I mean, I'm not talking about liquor. Liquor itself would have probably about 12 to 15 vendors. That is separate.
Amazing. So, when you look at it now from the perspective of restaurant owners, the investment is substantial. It's been almost 18 months of complete lockdown, if I can use that word. Do you see any consolidation taking place in the business now?
By consolidation, you mean are people
Acquiring
company buying another company?
acquiring each other's companies or merging together to make.
I don't. I haven't heard anything like that
Okay.
as of now.
Mm,
But you never know.
Okay.
There. But of course, these could be happening in very, very small single units. Which was happening earlier also.
Yeah.
You must. I don't know whether you're aware, and I must make you aware of this. That if you have 1 in 10 restaurants actually survive. In any case, I'm not talking about pandemic.
Sure.
Normally, 1 in 10 survive more than 2 years, and I would say 1 in 100 is what does fantastic business.
Okay.
So when people or general public gets attracted to or thinks about opening a restaurant, they only see that 1 in 100. They haven't seen the other 99.
Correct.
So you get inspired, you say, and then you feel it's so easy. But I think the main thing is when you open a restaurant, your investment is in the walls, on the walls, furniture, kitchen equipment, which is made to order. And if you want to close it after 2 years, you get nothing back.
Correct.
I mean, if you get back 10%, you're lucky. Because nobody wants to buy, I mean, besides maybe your fridges or something, but everybody, each new restaurant, like if you want to open a new restaurant, you feel, why should I buy something second hand? Let's buy something brand new. Because I'll have to need God knows how he has used it. All those things. And then you have a particular shape of a restaurant. And your kitchen equipment has to fit in there. Yeah. So it's not really standardized. It's made to order.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. So I've got one more question for you that from your perspective is NRAI, and then I'll come to your restaurants. With home delivery becoming so popular, the Swiggies and the Zomatos of the world, and people have got used to getting their food, whatever they want from wherever. Do you think the restaurant business will go back to pre-COVID levels?
You mean in the restaurant?
In the restaurant?
Yes. Well, I'm hoping it will. But I think ultimately, restaurants are serving not just the food, it's the experience. And, you go out, you want to get the feel of it. Like if you're buying a shirt, I'm buying so many things online now. I'm not happy. You want to go to a store, you want to feel that cloth. You want to see where you wear it, you see it for size, whatever it is. But till you don't feel it, you don't get that excitement of buying something. Here you are given a shirt and then you say, oh, maybe sometimes, like a lot of times, it's just lying in my cupboard and I haven't even worn it. Because it's not okay, don't feel like returning, it's too much of a process. So similarly with a restaurant, a good restaurant gives you, see, we are not a dhaba. So dhaba is, when you go there, there's no experience. But here you enter, you feel nice, you see a few people, some are above your pay grade, some are below. And there you are all the same, you're all equal. And you're all there to have a good time. So you're enjoying the food. The presentation which we give you in our restaurant can never be the same what you get at home. And don't forget that there's a lot of sale coming out of Zomato and Swiggy, but it's going to dark kitchens. A kitchen which you have not seen, you have not felt. God knows what is happening there.
Right.
It may be the best kitchen in the world. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
It may be the worst. But when you go to a restaurant, when you enter, you get a certain feeling. Absolutely. And you realize that I'm sure they are following the norms. And all the restaurants would have all the requisite licenses and they have to deal with all. So I think, and another thing is that we are paying for real estate. So if a noodle which costs 100 rupees from a roadside place probably cost 400 rupees at a restaurant because there are so many other costs involved.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Manpreet, now let's move to your restaurants. I mean, you've got some amazingly, well curated restaurants, big names, probably many of the 1 in 100 that you spoke about.
Oh,
My
yes.
question to you is, what goes into curating a successful restaurant?
Well, I think to begin with, it's hard work. You have to. I know my father, when he started the business, he was there. Uh, I won't say 24 hours a day, but mentally there 24 hours a day. And 12 to 14 to 16 hours a day they used to work. When I started working, it was much easier in the beginning, but of course I was doing my college while going to the restaurant simultaneously. When I opened my first restaurant, which was Fulwari in Pragati Madan, which was basically, we opened as a small restaurant, but we went on to becoming a big catering unit there. We used to hold weddings from 100 people to, well, the maximum wedding we did was 2,000.
Mhm.
We did conferences there. One particular conference I can never forget, it was radiologists from all over the world. And our opening night, we had 3,500 delegates and their families and locals. So we've done a lot of such functions. And there, when I started working, I was working 16 hours a day.
Mhm.
And 16, I brought it down to 12. 12, I brought it down to 8. And till we closed in 2000, in the year 2000, I was working there about 6 to 7 hours a day.
Amazing, amazing. And yet,
So it is hard work and dedication. And also, I feel one very important point is it should be your main business. If it is not your main business, you will neglect it.
that's an important point.
Yeah.
And yet, whenever I go to Fujiya, I see staff which must have been with you for many, many years. I mean, I see older staff there. And I've often
Yes.
wondered, what is it that you are doing differently that you're able to retain such loyal, keep such loyal people?
Well, I'll tell you a small story
Yeah.
about Fujiya, since we are talking about that restaurant. It's more than 50 years old now. When we opened, we had the doorman. His name was Padam Singh. He's still there.
Okay.
He retired at the age of whatever, 58, etc. And he went back home. After 1 year, he came back and he says, please keep me back. Okay. He couldn't do anything at home. He said, I want to be back. He was known by his first name, or called, some of the guests used to call him Sir, because they were born in front of him on that road. And he would know each and every person who used to come there, at least 90% of the guests, because he not only knew that guest, he knew his father, he knew his mother, probably knew his grandparents.
Wow.
And he would, when you come there, he would probably ask you, how's so and so by name, how's so and so. And each guest would probably give him 100 to 500 rupees tip. Where is he going to get that anywhere?
Yeah.
So we have our staff which is working with us. I would be proud to say we have never mistreated them. We always kept them well. And people who are our regular guests help us keeping our staff there, because, at the end of the day, they are there for the money.
Correct.
And they get their high tips and everything. So that's why they are still working there and they enjoy working.
Correct.
So we have a mix now. There is some old staff and there is some new staff.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting. So one more question on restaurants before I move to the next segment. You have over the years seen multiple generation of people, from the time of your age group, and I think I'm probably older than you, to people who was in the 70s and 80s. But now this world is being inherited by the millennials and the Gen Zs.
Yes.
What is their view on the restaurant business as consumers?
Well, I think they like the excitement. And now with the opening up of the bars, people are very happy. They have an area to go out. Also, there's a lot of disposable income with the youngsters today because they are living with their parents,
Mm.
which is our Indian culture, and they don't have any overheads as such,
True.
and they don't have any expenses. The house is free, the stay is free, the food is free. So what do they need their money for? And of course, the pay is much higher than what we would get at our age.
Correct.
I remember when I first started working at Fujiya, I used to get 250 rupees a month.
Mm. True. 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 Absolutely.
You
Well
know,
said.
so yeah, so things are very different. They have the money and they want to go out and spend it. It's very easy.
Well said. Well said. So I'm now going to move to the last segment of our conversation, which are some questions for you personally.
Mhm.
As a restaurateur, as someone who is leading such a large association, what are some of the core values you believe in?
Well, I think the most important thing is hard work.
Mm.
Without that, you can't get anywhere, whichever line you are in. And when you're beginning your life, you have to be, these days, especially if you see the youngsters, they want to do something which excites them. And I personally feel that you should follow your heart. It's very important. If you don't do that, you are not going to enjoy working in any job or in any business. You have to be happy. I mean, I am a third generation or a fourth generation, into restaurants. But for us, when I was a kid, there was really no choice.
Mm.
It was just the done thing that I will join my father's work. The same is not true anymore.
Correct.
And I think parents today are giving that leeway to their children to follow their heart.
Mm.
I mean, I know so many of my friends. One is his son is into music.
Mm.
I mean, it's totally unrelated to what the father is doing.
Correct.
Somebody is into acting,
Mm.
and somebody just wants to be on the net and do stuff on the.
Mm.
And one of my nephews is making apps,
Mm.
nothing to do what his father ever did.
Absolutely.
So I think that is something which is great, which has come in from the West, because, well, of course, with the added advantage of the Indian family,
Mm.
the joint family is
Yeah.
so good that even if you're not doing well, at least you are fed, you have a roof on your head.
Mm.
So you have that advantage. Whereas in the West, we see that at the age of 18 or whatever, people like to step out and, start living on their own and start, working and paying their own bills.
Fascinating.
I think this is something fantastic we have.
I know. I agree with you.
So I would say that we should let the youngsters follow their heart. It's so important.
Very well said. And Manpreet, my last question to you, and this is for the thousands of people who will hear our conversation. As a successful entrepreneur, what would your advice be to young entrepreneurs who are starting off on their life?
You mean for
As
restaurant?
entrepreneur, as a startup entrepreneur,
Okay.
as a business.
Well, I think I said pretty much in my last answer that you have to follow your heart. It's very important. If you are going to go into a particular business, you must, first of all, I think you must have a good background of knowledge,
Mm.
which only comes through studies. You have to do your professional courses, and only once you have gone through that would you be able to have a good business, if at all you're doing business. And if you're doing some job, again, you'll need your credentials. Credentials are very important.
Very well said.
And you have to be honest with yourself, first of all, to know what you want to do really, and then be honest in your work. Honesty is so important these days.
Very well said. Very well said. Manpreet, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for taking on me on this amazing journey of restaurants. And I sincerely hope the challenges being faced by the industry are resolved soon. Thank you again.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening to the brand called You Videocast and Podcast, a platform that brings you knowledge, experience, and wisdom of hundreds of successful individuals from around the world. Do visit our website www.tbcy.in to watch and listen to the stories of many more individuals. You can also follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search for the brand called You.